ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Scouser and the Scot.
Today we've got Adam Till from MMH Radio. Adam, how are you doing? Hope you keep well.
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. Yourself? You guys all right?
We're very well.
Yeah.
Very much
how's lockdown your end?
I'll let John answer that one.
Well, we're both in Merseyside, so that's been locked down longer than most places. We don't notice any difference, to be perfectly honest with you. But no, it's one of these things, isn't it? You just have to get on with it, and we've managed to both find a way. I've managed to find a way of getting even busier than I was before lockdown, so it's all good as far as we're concerned. And I think it could end up for the music industry. I actually believe that gig-wise, that when we do get a chance to get back, I think there's going to be a lot of people that's not going to take it for granted anymore.
I totally agree with you on that. I think it's going to be a good spike. I think a positive spike.
Yeah.
And I think we've all got to jump on that. So let's get back to the questions anyway.
Yeah.
This is about you, Adam, not about us. So Adam, tell us a bit about yourself. Can you give us a bit of background, what your involvement has been in the music business, and where you launched MMH?
It's a bit of a, how do we start the story? This is a story. It's a kind of a weird one because every time a new member of the team joins MMH Radio, I give the history of the station. So this is kind of weird because I'm actually doing it over a video instead of over a phone. So it's kind of a bit odd, but it started off in Stafford 10 years ago next year, but it was it started off with myself and my friend Ozzy Maidenfield. We're best mates, grew up together and all that, but we never had any involvement bar going to gigs in the beginning. It was literally, we were going to the local scene. We originally, both of us from Stafford, so we both started off in Stafford and we just went to the gigs in the local scene, obviously supported the bands, but we were there to have a drink and see some live music, and that was the good thing about it. And then obviously we did download every year. We went downloads like every Wednesday morning. We were up at 5 o'clock in the morning in the queue for 8 o'clock with a beer and a fag in our hand. And then we left on the Monday very burnt, crisp and hungover. And I suppose that's a sort of the bedding of MMH Midlands Metalheads, as you know. It was just a love and passion for what we do.
So from you personally, when you first started taking an interest in music, what kind of music was it? What bands was it? What was it excited you that made you actually, because not everybody gets to the stage where they like music that much, they go to gigs, go to festivals. So what was it about you that hooked you in before you even started MMH? A little bit about yourself.
I was a late start. I was a late bloomer. I was 18 when I got into rock music.
Really?
Yeah, I got quite heavily into the underground sort of rave scene back in the mid 90s with curtain hair, shall we add, and all that malarkey, you know what I mean? And then I met this guy and we became really close mates, and I worked in a local pub just serving beer. And he said, "Look, are you bored?" And I said, "Well, yeah, there's nothing going on around here." And he says, "There's a rock pub down the road called Dougal's." And I knew about it, but I never went. And we went. And he said, "If we go every weekend for 6 months, everyone will know us." And it was true. It was like a scene from Cheers. You walked in, everyone did know your name. It was very bizarre. But the bands that got me was like Megadeth and Korn. The new metal scene came out around that time as well. And I was around the right age. And I don't know, but the biggest band that got me into the rock scene, if you want to call it, is The Doors, which is the most random band, really, I suppose you could say. But it woke up. It just made me realise, so... Sorry, go on, carry on.
It's about you, definitely.
I'm
a lot older than you, and even the Doors even predate my taste. And it's to go from the rave scene and to find the Doors. It's quite... I don't think there'll be too many people that's followed that's found their way to music through that.
I'll be honest with you though, mate. To be honest with you, the main reason why I fell in love with the rock scene was because of the passion and the drive of the people that you hung out with. And I always have this saying in my head, and it is true. I think it's online somewhere as well. And the fact is that when you're in the pit and you get down, they always pick you up. And there is no other scene in the world like that. There is the love and the passion when the band is on and the people are in the pit. And if they see someone, they're pulling them up. And it's just, the love for it all is amazing, you know.
It's crazy, but I actually agree with you. It's a very family orientated
It is.
Where, as you say, you go there regularly.
Yeah.
People will pick up on it and then start talking to you. And it's the same in bands and stuff like that. You stick around. You stick around at the end of gigs. Make sure you meet and greet all the other bands. People will start recognizing you, start talking to you, and it's a great way of making a following as well.
There's a massive community in the rock scene.
100%.
And the way how everyone talks about each other. I mean, obviously, I've seen the videos that you guys have done with like Pete K. Malley and Keith from WDFD, and we all know each other. And it's just a great vibe. It really is. And, you know, obviously the music is a big part of it, but we're all on that same water level as well. You know, we're just good friends. So
you see that a lot in the social media pages as well. You know, the fan pages and the rock pages, metal pages, whatever the group is. You see that, especially through the lockdown. People were there for each other. You know, like if somebody put something up saying I'm a bit down, well, geez, it was like boom, PM me, are you okay, bro? And I thought that was amazing. I actually I've always been into sport. So when I was in Scotland, I was a football fan. When I came down to England in 1990, 91, I lived in West Yorkshire and I went to watch some rugby league. And it was the same. It was like football was like it was tribal. Rugby league, it was like everybody talked to you and you changed ends and you stood among each other and the fans were mixed. And I found that so different coming from like the old firm up in Scotland that it attracted me to it. It really did. And the music scene's like that. And it's funny that they're kind of always quite niche. You know, it's the bigger entities that don't have that. They're almost like the city. They're almost like London, you know, where nobody knows each other. But then you find these enclaves or these towns or the villages. And I kind of think it's like that with rock and rugby league. And it'll be in everywhere. You know, there'll be all sorts of versions of that. But I agree totally. It's a community. And it is a community.
Yeah. It's a great one at that.
Yeah, definitely.
What were your difficulties of starting up MMH? What kind of things were you aware of, unaware of, and which took you by surprise?
So this was a hard question I had to answer because I was thinking about this one. And I'll be honest with you, when Midlands Metalheads first started, it was the love and passion, everything that we did. But then we had to learn about the business side when we were going to learn about that one, because we knew we had to take it to the next level, knew we couldn't do a hobby forever. So we knew that we had to learn the paperwork. We knew we had to pay the bills. We knew we had to do all the licenses. And that was a step-by-step learning curve. The downside about it wasn't very rock and roll anymore. You know, it was actually pen and paper, pushing it out and all that, you know. But the good thing about it is we were very fortunate because in the early days, we had people to help us out as well, because we didn't know this side of the business. So luckily we had people to guide us in the right direction. And they've stuck with us ever since, to be honest with you. But yeah, would you like to know the history of MMH?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, go for it, mate. Yeah.
You got a good few hours, yeah?
Fire away. I think it's quite important because obviously it shows you where it starts from.
Yeah, it's a random one because I mean, like we were saying about the history, like where I was before the station, but myself and my mate Ozzy Maidenfield we grew up together, but there's like a 10-year gap between the two of us, and we used to go to the gigs and all that. And one day, I mean, like I say, on the phone call to all the new members that joined the station, it started off on a balcony with a bottle of Jack and 20 fags. And I always say it's how the best stories start. And it was literally, we used to sit there night after night talking about music and the love and the passion and the bands and have music playing on in the background. And And like I said, we had downloads, but we called it originally Stafford Metalheads, and it was just a Facebook group. That's all it was. And then one drunken night on my mate's birthday at a local rock night in Stafford, we got offered a slot on a local radio station. So we called it Midlands Metalheads, the Midlands Metalheads Rock Show. And it was just literally just off on a whim. And we did it on a Friday night for about 7 months, something like that. And it was great. You know, we used to go down the pub, have a few drinks, and then get on behind the mic and interview bands. And it was great times. It really was. But we decided that we wanted it to go bigger, but the station we were with was quite a local sort of niche radio station. That's all it was. It was just one of them. So we founded Midlands Metalheads Radio. And that was it's 10 years next year. No, sorry, total, it's 10 years this year. And that was 2 of us 10 years ago. And now we've got 58 in the team.
Seriously, that might be.
Wow. Yeah, seriously, yeah. Yeah.
That's quite impressive.
So again, sorry.
That's quite impressive, that.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, we never expected it. You know, we love it. So,
I mean, you say that you've got 58 people working as part of the team.
Yeah, volunteers.
What does that break down as? Like, you know, are they all DJs? Are they all got different roles and stuff like that?
We've got, in regards to departments, we've got the radio presenters, we've got the reviewers, we've got the photographers, we've got the press team, we've got the news team, we've got the sales team, and we've got the events team. And me, very grey, let me add.
I think it's quite interesting as well that, you know, because I only know you as MMH.
Yeah.
And I once asked somebody, what does it even stand for? And they said Midlands Metalheads. And my first question, I think it was Pete actually, and Pete Marley, and I said to him, why is, so they've changed to MMH, was that because you've strayed away from just playing metal? Or was the inclusion of metal in the name, did you feel that sort of narrowed it too far for you? Or has it been a positive or negative, or has it been a mix of both? I've always wondered about that, the change to MMH.
It's been a thorn in my side, that name, has since day one, as much as we've loved having the name there. It was never, Midlands Metalheads was never intended to be a radio station as a name. It was just a Facebook group. But we always knew that name would have to change at some point, because we knew it was always going to be not a problem or an issue, but we knew it wasn't suited for being a radio station, you know. And then in 2019, we rebranded to MMH, so Home of Rock Radio, because it suits the vibe of what we do.
Yeah.
But on the other side of the coin of that is Midlands Metalheads was never just metal, and it was never just Midlands, so it was pretty a terrible name when you think about it. But it was because we've got, I mean, we've had for 9 years, we've had blues shows, prog shows, thrash shows, new metal shows, southern rock shows. We've had all forms, and it was the name, the music was never in conjunction with the name. It was just, you know, the genres, because there's so many subgenres now in rock music. It's like, you know, you get tired, don't you? You know, it's just, end of the day, it's just rock and metal in my hands. But, you know, so yeah, the name was never intended for a radio station. So,
totally agree with you. I think it can get lost at the moment with the number of subcategories.
Yeah,
someone actually said when I was talking guitar to them, he said there's only 2 different tones. There's clean and dirty. That's it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Ever since then, I was like, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Clean or dirty. That's it.
Yeah.
I'll take that completely. Yeah. So let's go back a little bit and let's start talking a little bit more in depth about the radio station as well.
Okay.
So if people are watching this and they're going, I want to be part of this or want to be involved, how do you go about deciding what type of shows and what people are best suited on being on MMH?
I mean, at the end of the day, on one hand, I always want to give everyone an opportunity to be part of the station. Considering I didn't come from a music industry background, I came from just a love and passion. I will give anyone a chance to be whether a radio presenter, reviewer. The only department we're very strict on, I mean, I say we are strict on the other departments, but majorly strict is the galleries, because if you're going to be taking photos in front of in the live scene, obviously that has to come out a certain way. But in regards to the radios and reviewers, we go through a demo process, and we ask them to do, like, you know, can you do a 1 hour demo, a 2 hour demo for airwaves? And then, you know, we help them out with pointers and stuff like that. But obviously there is times when we can say, look, you know, maybe a radio show won't suit you. Maybe we can do a review instead, see how that goes. Are you written? Do you enjoy writing, you know? But yeah, I'll give anyone a chance, but we do have to have a reasonable high level of standard when it comes to all the departments. Because at the end of the day, you know, we obviously want to get to a certain level of what we do. And we need those people to be standing next to us, you know. You know. But yeah, I always like to give them a chance, because I think it's only fair, you know.
If somebody watching this is thinking to themselves, you know, I want to create my own radio show. I want to put together a show reel, a sound reel, etc. What do you think is more likely to be successful than not? You know, what's your kind of main criteria, the KPIs you're looking for when you listen to something that's come into you?
What do you mean, like if someone's interested in joining us, or if someone's interested?
Even generally, you know, what do you, in other words, what do you think makes for an exciting, interesting, and is more likely to be successful radio show?
The way I look on it, and that's how I say to all presenters, is the radio presenter makes the show, not the music. In the modern age that we all live in, it is so easy just to put a playlist on. With all the platforms that we have in this world, you know, Spotify, YouTube, whatever you want to call it, it is so easy just to play music. But in my eyes, it's the radio presenter that makes that show. You know, so end of the day, if they bring good interaction, good content, talk, enjoy it. You know, what interests you? Obviously, you know, if you're doing a show about rock music, there's going to be 1,000 other people that are going to be having the same sort of line as what you're on. You know, so just enjoy doing what you're doing. I feel like I'm going off on a tangent. So
no, far from it. Far from it. Do you know what? It's quite an interesting one, because I think
it's a hard question as well to ask, to be honest with you. You know.
Yeah, it's a tough question, but it's your opinion as well. So obviously, it's like, obviously you run the radio station, so you think, if you listen to it and go, that didn't really work, you must have your meetings with you guys and just say, don't think that worked the other night. Is it worth trying something different?
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Like, you know,
I have when someone joins the station as a radio presenter, there's a countless lots of phone calls. There really is a lot of phone calls of, you know, you do a stage and you say, right, okay, how do you feel you did? Do you feel you could do better? What about this? What about that? Okay, now do another sort of demo. Right, what do you think to this? And then, because what we do is we have a process when it comes to certain shows as well, where you have to place adverts and cross promotion and stuff like that regarding the other shows. All shows advertise their other shows. And yeah, there is a process, but I become a friend with that person. I want to be friends with everyone in the team, you know. So I want them to all be relaxed and enjoy doing what they're doing. But in regards to about doing a show as well, is one of the things I will say is be always grounded. Never get big-headed over what you're doing. Always be level-headed with doing a radio show or anything in this industry, to be fair with you, because, you know, I think it's better that way, I suppose, is the answer, you know, because that's how I've always approached it, you know.
To be honest, it'll soon catch up with you if the egos.
Yeah, no one likes a rock star.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. It's a good way of putting it. So if someone was considering starting their own radio station, what advice would you give them? what do you think of, like, can you give them any advice that would make the success rate higher?
You got to push it. I mean, if you want to start a radio station, there is so much. I mean, let's be honest about it. There's so much competition in the world these days regarding radio stations. Everyone can do a radio station now. You know,
how easy is it though, Adam?
Say again, sorry.
How easy do you think it is though?
It is.
And that's not
great to create a radio. No, it's all right. It's all right to create a radio station. It is easy,
really.
You know, but it's the hard work and passion that comes into it, and the dedication of a long term. It's my second marriage, and to be the reason I'm only saying it's my second marriage because my wife's in the other room. You know, when she married me, she knew she was coming with this. Well, I was coming with this. But end of the day, I mean, for 10 years I've done this, and I remember slogging on my computer every evening, weekends, getting it pushed out on the internet. I remember going to gigs with 500 flyers at a Rob Zombie gig and chucking them in the air for anyone to pick them up. You know, you go walk around getting jingles off people off phones. I lived and I dreamt it. You know, I breathed it, shall I say. You know, but if you've got the love and passion of something that you really enjoy and you want to do, you'll do it without even thinking, you know.
One of the things that you mentioned before was licensing.
Yes.
Now, obviously, there's a cost behind setting up a radio station. There's an annual cost. There's most probably monthly costs, server costs, especially if you're online and stuff like that. Can you give us a rough idea of, like, you don't have to go into figures or anything like that, but I think it would be quite interesting for people to understand some of the hidden costs behind the radio station. And obviously licensing can be expensive, very expensive. Then you've got a number of other different avenues as well, where people are like, ask for money for paying songs and stuff like that. It's a crazy world out there, but I'm sure you've most probably had a number of different things. But like I say, if there's anything you can discuss or share an insight into, that'd be quite interesting for us.
You know, in the day, you've got the licenses to make it a legit radio station. You've got the electricity. You've obviously got the internet. That's probably the most important thing, let's face it. Yeah. You have got bills, and you've got bills that do rake up through the course of the year. It all comes down to how you want to pay those bills, whether it comes out your own pockets or donations or advertising and all that. But, you know, I've always said as well, obviously you've got to do sales. You've got to do all that to make the money. And we realize that anyone has to do that in this day and age with anything we do. But the one thing that doesn't have to pay is the artist. You know, all that side will never, ever come in for that side, you know.
I'm glad to hear that, to be honest with you, because I was talking to a guy that works with us, plugging our band's songs to radio. And he said to me rather worryingly the other day that he seems to be getting much more, which is like, you know, for 60 quid, you'll be one of our preferred pluggers, and we'll guarantee playing it, or you need to pay to play. College radio in America's into this now. And I'm like, I'm so glad you said that, because to me it's a crime, that.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has bills to pay, and as a radio station, we obviously have to have bills to pay. We all know this, but when it comes to and this is one thing that I've always said, when it comes to the artist, not a chance in hell. You know, we should be paying them, as far as I'm concerned. They are our bread and butter. Without them, I'd just be sitting at home twiddling my thumbs. You know, we should be thanking them for all the hard work. You know, and I think, to be fair, all the team at MMH will agree with me there, to be honest with you, because at the end of the day, you know, we have a passion for the music that them guys are playing, but they're the ones we should be thanking, because they really slog it out these days, you know, especially in this day and age as well. Yeah. You know,
I think that's one thing that I've picked up, Adam, from the guys. I don't know too many of the guys that's on your radio channel, but I know Paul. I know Tony a little bit, and obviously I know Pete really well. And the one thing they all have,
for the record, Tony's a complete rock star. Tony is great. It's all right.
Oh yeah, he's ace. But the thing with them is they all have that passion. It's like I guarantee you, if we replace you in this and put them on, and they'd all talk the same thing. And I think that's one thing that you've done really, really well, which is find people of a similar nature to yourself. That passion that's there, and they all talk about it. When I spoke to Paul about our Forge Ahead initiative, he couldn't get to it quick enough, you know. And he's like, I love the idea that you're mentoring these young bands. You're not taking money off them. I'll play it. I'll support it. I'll be an ambassador. Pete was the same. I was like, guys, that's amazing. I can guarantee you, I can go to some of the big national rock ones, and they wouldn't give me the time of day to even talk about it. And I think that's something that, as a guy that works with a lot of bands, having stations like yours that support the grassroots and don't just keep playing Led Zeppelin. Not that there's anything wrong with Led Zeppelin and Iron Maiden from back in the day, and that's how they live their life. I think it's amazing, and I think it's, you know, and it's appreciated. And every time one of your DJs plays one of our band's songs, they love it, and they talk about it and they share it, etc., etc. So I just like to say, in case I don't get to that point, that, you know, more win to your sales guys, because honestly, you do a brilliant job.
All the DJs have complete free reign over everything they play. You know, and we've always kept that idea in mind, because at the end of the day, those DJs have a love and passion for what they do. So we let them play what they like. Obviously within reason, you know. we can't have Spice Girls playing or anything like that. But, you know, at the end of the day, we obviously have to say, you know, but, you know, like Pete, he's got so much passion and dedication for what he does. Like you say, Paul, Tony, crikey, he lives and breathes the radio station. You know, he'll do it in his sleep, for crying out loud, that guy does.
And that's going through what he's going through personally with a big fight.
I know, Tommy fans,
and he's still at it. It's just amazing. I think the only thing I would say to you is that you need to watch Pete, because when you see his posts on social media about what he listens to in the morning, some of that's worrying. Some of that is really worrying.
For the record, I'm only saying this because this is recorded. That's all.
So let's talk about MMH a bit further. What does the short, medium, and long-term future hold for MMH as far as you can see just now?
Well, I mean, end of the day, short term is going to carry on as normal. We're recruiting. We're currently in the process of recruiting 3 new shows. We're improving the reviews team with a certain few things, with more recruitment as well on that. And I think we're on about doing another web fest. I don't know if you saw, we did a Scare Fest for Halloween, and we did a Christmas Fest online over last year. So we're going to be doing one of them again in the next few months, which is good.
That's cool.
Medium, see, I can't say too much about this. Medium, it's our 10-year anniversary this year. It's actually in November. So we've got a bit of an announcement that I can't tell you. So, you know.
So does that mean we have to invite you back on them?
Yeah. And you may get invited if you do. So, you know, hopefully when COVID decides to go away, we can all have a party, and that's part of the announcement. So that's all I can say on that one. In regards to the long term, there is something really big. And again, I can't tell you. But the thing is, see, if it does work out, I'm going to be very happy.
Well, if you do, when it is time to tell us, we would gladly have you on. We'll even do a live show where you can announce it if you want. It's up to you. There's the offer. We'll gladly try and pimp you out as much as we can, like so.
It won't be the first time. Thank you. I'll take you up on that.
All right, there you go.
Cool.
It's all right. Keith, last week I've got to do a TikTok with Keith when COVID ends. It's going to be a dance off in a dress. So whenever COVID ends, me and Keith are going to TikTok it like so.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, let's return the favour. We'll do that on the MMH network. So we'll send it out across the network.
Oh, that's cool. It's a date.
So we go back to it before TikTok takes over. Have you ever been tempted to diversify into more areas of the business? And if so, what way?
I've always liked the idea of a magazine. Idea of for which we're currently sort of looking into, but it's a bit hard on that side. It's finding some people that are actually interested in creating a magazine for us, or having someone we can be part of with that side. In regards to the business, when it comes to diversity, we cover a lot already as well. So a lot of it's kind of covered in a lot of respects. But have you got anything in mind?
Ooh.
I was kind of thinking when I wrote that question down, I was kind of thinking along the lines of, I have seen in the past, like, I never thought magazine, although I would like to point out at this time that there is a need for these kind of things. And if you've seen the Emerging Rock Bands magazine, what those guys have done with that is amazing, and that's definitely needed. So I would if you went down that route, I would definitely think that's a great idea. But I was thinking along the lines of things like the MMH, like the promotion side. So a festival, you know, the MMH host. Yeah, but you could get other people in to do it. But you could, it could be the MMH brand and things like that. So, or anything at all like that. Or are you getting to TV? You know, with all these channels there is now, are creating a TV show. So it's kind of like looking along the lines of progression. That's what was meaning.
No, they're definitely good ideas. I mean, obviously, you knew we were part of Stone Death as well for the last few years. We hosted the Friday night for that, so we are part of. I wouldn't say we're the official partner, because obviously we do the Friday night for them guys, and we are part of Call the Wild as well, where hopefully, fingers crossed it happens this year, we'll be doing the signing tent for them guys. So we are kind of 30-40% into a festival, if you want to say. Mm-hmm. The idea of an MMH festival is not the first time it's been mentioned. It's been chucked out for many a year for what we do. It's just something we've never got around to doing. We do like the idea, but as you probably know, to run a festival is a big thing to do. So, you know, as for TV, let's do it. I'll be up for that. Let's go for it.
I think if you saw a couple of shows that Pete presented, I think one was.
Oh, you don't want him in front of the camera.
Oh no, you don't. Oh no, I don't want to encourage him. In fact, that's one of the things that we put in the contract, that if you decide to run with us, Pete can't present it because he's too busy as it is. And Ruth will never forgive us if we take him away too often. But he presented a couple. And one was Riders Creed, which was done in Stafford, and one was Black Tree Vultures and a few other bands the day before. I think there's a need for that kind of person, because at my age, and I'm nearly 60, I get interested in music through watching Top of the Pops, and just about everybody of a certain age that we've interviewed has said the same thing. So first of all, it's Top of the Pops, the Old Grey Whistle Test, and the Tube. But after that, where are young people going to see rock? Where are they going to see metal? Unless their parents, or in some cases their grandparents, are into it, they don't really see it. And I think that's a huge opportunity. And I think people, like the people that own these studios, like the one in Stafford, MMH, big festivals, etc., or the bigger festivals, need to get our heads together and say, how are we going to bust through this ceiling? How are we going to get out there? How are these kids? And we're going to get people that they like to present it. It's going to be a YouTube presenters. You know, that's what we need to do. We need to create the market, because if we don't, we're a dying breed. Rock and metal.
You know what, John? I think you're right, mate. I know this is showing my age now, like, as well. It's going back. Chris Evans had a program on a Friday night, TFI Friday.
Yeah.
We need something like that back, which is blasting out good rock music, good metal music, good music in general.
Yeah. And
get that Friday feeling back, where everyone's like, you know, right, watch my program, let's go to town and watch a band.
Yeah.
And like you say, we need that. We need it can't be done just by ourselves, yourself, Adam. There needs the whole community to pull together. The community's there, and it just needs that rocket up its arse to say, let's do this. And I think if we do get everyone together, which I'd love to do, I'd love to get as many people, like, you know, everyone what we interview and say, come on, we can all do this. And I reckon we've got enough talent to do it all. Why can't we?
The thing is, you're saying that on a whim, but you're completely right, because it can be done, because there is enough people in the scene that has enough contacts or talent that can do what you're saying there.
100%. And I think the thing is,
right, we'll do it. Let's just do it. There's on the video. We'll sort it out. All right.
Yeah, let's go. I think the thing is, if you just take it back to what you said, Adam, you're sitting bored in a pub with your mate, and he said, you fancy going down to the rock bar. Then you have to think about what got us, what did we like about the rock bar? It was this, it was this, it was this. And I don't think just simply because kids nowadays don't know what that's like, or younger people these days don't know what it's like, they will find exactly the same pleasure in it. 100%. And whether that's presented on TV or not, they don't care. They need to see that. And it's just this people stupidly sitting back and going, we're all right. Massive Wagons are doing really well. Well, I'd like Massive Wagons to make the same sort of money as Ariana Grande. I'd like those damn crows to be making the same sort of money, as any of the rest of them that's making the money. Why are we happy scrapping about picking up pebbles off the beach when we could be going for gold? And I think it takes people to get together, like-minded people, to do that. And you did it. Look what you've achieved by having an idea and then finding other people that shared that idea that wanted to buy into it and do it. So why the hell can't we all get together? And
no, you're right.
Park our egos at the back, focus on what we can achieve together, forget about short-term gain, and just do it. So there you go. I've given you enough to think about now, mate. So I'll come back. We'll have another one of these next Friday, next week, and we'll ask you then what we're doing.
No, it sounds great. It really does. I totally agree with you. I mean, there is enough people in the scene to do what we're saying. And there's so much talent out there when it comes to bands. The bands now, some of the levels that they're at, it's just rocketed. It's amazing, some of the stuff. It's just, they just need to take that next step. But the media, the big media does crush it down a lot, as because at the end of the day, they're not being recognised like they should be recognised.
But I think
people like, and you're right. You're right in a lot of respects. It's the likes of MMH. It's the likes of you guys. It's the likes of ERB. It's the likes of all these other radio stations or webzines that are pushing these bands out there for the love of it, for the pure passion of it, and it's absolutely brilliant that we are doing what we're doing.
I think, to be honest, though, I think we're being disingenuous, and I think, from my opinion, we talk about the wider mainstream not wanting it to happen, but we have plenty of people in our own rock and metal music business that are also not helping by charging the amounts that they charge.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We all know them. We know who they are and what they're charging, and what they're getting bands to do for next to nothing on nothing, and it's all for them to make a living off it. So I don't think we can just, I think they all need to be found out, and we need to find a way around them. And I don't care what anybody thinks that sees this. And if you're one of these guys that are people that's doing that, well, I don't care. We'll come for you. It's as simple as that. We're coming for you, and we will find you out, and you will be found out, because our scene deserves better. And I don't care about saying that. I'm quite frank about it. That's how it needs to be. And the more, as Billy Connolly once said, I think he was 60 odd when he got his first tattoo in Australia. And when he finished to get the tattooist turned to him and he said, "That's it, Billy." He says, "One more of us and one less of them." And that's my approach. And I think the more we talk, the more Ian and I talk to people like yourself and the Keiths and the Petes and the Adams and everybody else, the more I feel that there is enough of us. There is enough of us of the same mind to really rebuild the walls and build them higher and stronger.
I feel like a Braveheart moment coming on.
Yeah,
that's the stuff coming out. You'll get used to it, trust me.
Just count yourself lucky.
Right.
Just count yourself lucky. This is wine and not whiskey.
Okay.
So finally, Adam.
Okay.
In the distant future, when this is all behind you, and you're looking back at MMH, what would success look like to you?
The way I look at it with MMH is, I've done it for 10 years, as I've said, and I love it. I breathe it, you know. Maybe not as much as I did 5 years ago, because I've got a 5-year-old now and stuff like that. So obviously a few things have changed, but the team are second to none. They're absolutely amazing. I love them all to bits, really do. Now, in the future, if I've got I don't know, and I'm 70 years old, I'm online, and I go through Google Images and I type in MMH Radio, and I see all this stuff coming back. End of the day, it's just awesome memories. So it's not really a success. I mean, obviously we're going to push it, and obviously we're going to make this radio station happen. Of course we are, you know, but just to see it grow, just to see it achieve what we've done. You know, I was with my mate on a balcony getting drunk, listening to whatever radio or Scouser TV, smoking 20 fags in a night, when I smoked, let me add for the record, you know, with my mate. And now I'm 10 years later, and I've ran a Friday night at Stone Dead. I'm doing Silent Tentacle while I've interviewed bands. I've done Download Festival press behind the scenes. You know, I've hung out with rock stars. And just to have that as memories is good enough for me, to be fair.
You'll do it for me, mate. That'll do that for me as well. 100%.
Say again. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, I like the question when you say success, but when my daughter's 21 years old and I can just say, that's what your dad did. So she'll probably be a chav by then and go, what? Get out. But, you know, end of the day, you know, just to show my daughter it is an achievement in its own right, as far as I'm concerned.
You never know. She might follow in your footsteps.
She bloody well will. She's got no choice in the matter. I need someone to take over the air of it all. So, but no, seriously, I mean, even if it ended tomorrow, I'd be thankful for everything that happened. You know, it's great, really is.
I certainly hope until such times as you decide that you don't have the energy or the desire to do it, and I hope that that's a long way away.
Oh God, yeah, I have no intention of closing it down. You know, the team won't let me anyway. It's not my choice.
They know where you live.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They'll just come round and just say, no, you're not. Oh, okay, all right.
So I think that ends it very nicely. However, we've still got a few little bits that we need you to do.
Okay.
So just before, you were saying that you're looking for 3 people for 3 new shows, or 3 potential new shows. If someone wants to get in touch with you, who thinks I've got what it takes, how do they get in touch with you? What's the best way, Adam?
Well, there's several ways, but the easiest way is Facebook, obviously. I mean, this day and age, it's the obvious one. But obviously, if you go to mmhradio.co.uk to the website, you'll see the contact form, click on the recruitment, send us a message. I want to join. I'm interested. You know, we'll give anyone a chance, and be good to make some new friends at the same time. You know,
that's great. While we're talking about links and stuff like that, I see you wearing the MMH t-shirt. Are these for sale? Are these?
At present, they're not, unfortunately. They are. I know, yeah, I know. Tell me about it. You're about the 50th person this week to ask. Yeah, they are. We have got a new merch in line. We've just got to get it released. That's all we've got to do. But yeah, it's just time and getting around to it, to be fair with you. But yeah, it is on the list of things to do. I'm not going to lie. So. And the
last one from yourself, mate.
Okay.
Can you give us your links for all your shows, like, you know, where to find you, Facebook, Twitter? What's the best links for you with your website?
Okay. So basically, if you want to listen live, you can download the app for free from your app store, Android or OS. If you want to listen on your computer, then basically just go to mmhradio.co.uk. You can listen on Facebook and whatnot. if you want to go to the podcasts, go to Podbean. All of them go on to Podbean, but then they sort of like go out to millions of other platforms at the same time. You can find them on iTunes, you can find them on Spotify, you can find them on TuneIn Radio. I haven't got the list in front of me to tell you how much there is. Twitter, go to MMH _radio. I have to think about that then.
Late though, it's late.
Don't worry, it won't be the first, it won't be the last. However, what I will do for you is I will put all the links down below in the information page. So just click on the info down below and we'll be able to find all the links to Adam. Adam, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciated it, mate. We'd love to have you back on to give us your announcements. I would gladly do a live show with you if you fancy it.
As long as you wear your dress.
As long as you wear one, mate.
Yeah,
Can't be sparkly though. I'll get John wearing one as well.
Yeah.
So,
but for the record, before I go, what you guys are doing are absolutely brilliant. Thank you for having me on. Keep it up because I love it. I really do love it. You're doing great. Keep it up, guys.
That is great, mate. I really appreciate the feedback. And like I say, coming from you guys, it means a lot because all we're trying to do is get the information out to everyone because I think it's really key. And without you guys, music would be dead. So we're a family. We help each other, and that's the whole point of it. Definitely. And on that note, John, over to you.
There we are. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. That's been another evening with the Scouser on the Scot. So until next time, you know what to do. Hit that cow bell and subscribe.